Alright guys, what is going on? My name is Pipe Bomb City, and welcome to my WWE Superstar Shakeup predictions here, guys. Yes, Superstar Shakeup predictions. It's a pretty weird fucking video. So, before I get into explaining this, be sure to check out my Instagram at Pipe Bomb City. We're almost at 13,000 followers, which I really appreciate. Be sure to go and follow that. Post a lot of shit, especially recently. So, and also be sure to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. The road to 200 subscribers, we're starting to get there, so I really appreciate that. So getting into this video, guys, this is interesting because usually I only do predictions, you could say, for pay-per-views, specials on the network and shit like that. That's the purpose of predictions on my channel. But for this, I'm trying to make it a different kind of video, because of course we had the draft last July, and I just want to say, man, I feel like the draft has been a huge success. I mean, you could have your own opinions on that, and there's been a lot of things that have gone wrong, but there's also been a lot of things that have shaken things up. There's no pun intended. There's been a lot of good things along with the draft and the two separate brands, so in my humble opinion, that's how I feel about that. But getting into this, guys, the Superstar Shakeup is happening next week. I'm posting this video on Wednesday, so we're getting close, right? It's going to be on Monday Night Raw, and it's going to be where we don't know if it's going to be trading. We don't know if it's just going to be a random selection. We don't know, because it used to be trading. It used to be all this other kind of stuff, but we are not sure. I mean, the title of Superstar Shakeup, which on its own is just a weird kind of title. It's like a fucking WWE app that you get on your phone. It sounds like one of those weird things, but the point is that the roster's getting shaken up. That's the whole point, We're switching things around again, and I thought they would save this for this July, I should say, because then a whole year would pass, but I feel like it makes more sense to do it now. WrestleMania, the biggest pay-per-view of the year, let's get a fresh start, so I understand where they're coming from there, and I can appreciate that. So, getting into this, I've been trying not to think about this too much or talk about it too much, my thoughts, because I want to just go through this entire roster, Raw, not the Raw roster. My thoughts are blank right now. Well, not blank, but I really don't have an idea of what I would really want to see or what I think is going to happen. I want to have a Raw reaction, so I can go through this and give my opinions on that. So getting into this, guys, I'm going to just be going through the whole roster and give my thoughts. But right away, I noticed that Lesnar and Orton, the two main champions of each shows now, are not holding their championships. And it might just be a small detail, but notice how the Hardy Boys won their championships at WrestleMania, and so did Kevin Owens, and they already got their little pictures taken. And you think that the main champions would be updated first, but they're not. And that concerns me. Like, maybe Lesnar's going to SmackDown, which would be really interesting. I feel like he'd kill the entire roster over there. And then if Orton goes to Raw, maybe they'd make the Universal title blue, because I don't understand having this big old red belt on SmackDown. That'd be fucking weird. And having Orton on Raw, maybe he would just keep the title that he has. Maybe that they would do that, But again, that might not happen. But speaking of champions changing, I feel like Bayley and Naomi are going to stay on their own rosters, of obviously, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion. But when you look at this, the U.S. Champion and their Continental Champion, I feel like that's going to be a switch. I feel like Kevin Owens is going to Tuesday Night SmackDown. I feel like Dean Ambrose is going to Monday Night Raw. I feel like they're going to have it in the old days where they had SmackDown with the U.S. title and Raw with the Intercontinental title. I feel like they're going to do that again, man. So that's my thoughts on that. Again, Hardy Boys are staying on Raw, in my opinion. And I feel like the Usos are staying on SmackDown. Neville, of course, is staying. Tyler Bate is as well. NXT is irrelevant here. AJ Styles is a big name that's been going around because he recently had this thing on SmackDown where, he had this big confrontation with Shane. They're good now, man. And they were shaking hands and shit. And a lot of people look at that as Styles' goodbye, his ode to SmackDown Live. And that concerns me, man, because AJ Styles on SmackDown Live was good. It just worked because it was this new brand, and you had this guy who came in, he was like this new star, and he really made the SmackDown Live brand grow. SmackDown Live, not the old SmackDown, where you had guys like Taker and Batista and Edge. That was their brand. This was SmackDown Live I'm talking about. And Styles, literally, he elevated himself while elevating the show with him. And that's just, he was the top guy. Even when he lost the championship, it was up until pretty much Elimination Chamber where people started to say, okay, maybe he's still a top guy, but he's one of the lower ones nowadays, So, I feel like they're taking him to Raw. It's been going around. There's rumors and news about that. I really wish he stayed on SmackDown Live though, but that's just the rumors going around there. Simon Gotch was recently released. They both agreed on that. I don't care for Aiden English. I feel like Bliss is staying. Cruz is a possibility because he's one of those like smaller guys right now where he might be moved to Raw. But again, we don't know how many people are going to get shaken up. If it's only like each person, you know, like only 5 people, so that makes 10, get moved to different rosters, I don't feel like Apollo will be a part of that. I feel like his name is too small. But Baron Corbin might. And they could go off the storyline of, oh, he was about to become Intercontinental Champion. And then, say Ambrose stays on SmackDown, Corbin moves to Raw. Then they'll play off the storyline of, oh, Corbin was so close to grabbing the fucking title, but he missed it. But again, if Ambrose moves to Raw, like I said, and Corbin does as well, they can continue their rivalry there, which Raw would probably want, that more edgy rivalry, you know. Big Enzo and Cass. Enzo and Cass are going to SmackDown. I'm just telling y'all right now, because remember in the draft when Shane, or I should say Stephanie and Mick Foley, they called out for Enzo and Cass, and then Shane ripped apart a piece of paper. Like, it was some big deal of his. This is his time to do it. I feel like that's what they're playing off of here. So Enzo and Cass, in my opinion, are going to SmackDown. New Day is going to stay on Raw. Big Show is irrelevant at this point. Braun Strowman is a big one. But seeing as how he's starting to get involved with the rivalry with Reigns and Brock Lesnar, he's staying on Raw, in my opinion. Bray Wyatt, of course, he's getting shit done with Orton. So I feel like he's staying on SmackDown anyways. That's his home now. American Alpha. Recently, they announced that the Usos would challenge American Alpha in a rematch for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Maybe. They said maybe, implying because maybe one of the teams is going to get switched. And that away gives me like a warning sign. Like maybe American Alpha is going to change. So American Alpha is definitely a possibility. Charlotte, even if she goes to SmackDown, man, she is literally the best women's wrestler in the world premiere. At least one of. Because out of all the women's wrestlers I've seen, man, Charlotte Flair is the number one. Cesaro and Sami Zayn are 2 names where Shane has been saying like, oh, we want those guys, and Cesaro and Zayn themselves have been like, oh, we want to go to SmackDown. Well, Zayn recently says he wants to stay on Raw, but Cesaro and Zayn, man, those are 2 names to watch out for. Jericho, I believe, is staying on Raw, of course. Owens versus Jericho was already announced for the U.S. title at Payback. So if Owens get moved, that would be a very interesting rivalry, because then the champion walking out of that match could give it to their brand or claim it as their own, you know. So I already talked about Ambrose. Ziggler is pretty much irrelevant at this point. Enzo and Cass, I said, are definitely going to SmackDown. I feel like Emma just returned on Raw. I feel like she's staying there. Eric Rowan is going to stay on SmackDown. Eva Marie is done with WWE. I don't know what the fuck she's doing. Balor, I don't see Balor going to SmackDown. He's just got involved with Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens and all that. And even though he doesn't have a clear storyline yet, I feel like he's staying on Raw. Goldberg, of course, is pretty much gone. Already talked about American Alpha. James Ellsworth, shut the fuck up. Cena, I feel like Cena's staying on SmackDown. Again, but Cena isn't here. He's out doing his own things now. He waited till WrestleMania. He's out now. When he'll be back, I don't know. But Cena's another name, you know, but I wouldn't consider it to be a big deal there. Gallows and Anderson, they're on Raw, man. And if Styles goes to Raw, all 3 of them are going to get back together, which I really don't want to see, man. I liked it when Styles was out being this entrepreneur of his, you know, and he was just doing his own thing, making this name for himself. I like that a lot better, you know. Kurt Angle, of course, is the Raw general manager. And you got to look at that. Like, they're playing off of Kurt's character. Maybe he would be looking for people who, again, we don't know if it's going to be random or there's going to be trades or one person decides, but Angle is another one where, like, as a general manager, he could play off that character, just like Shane wants, like, Shane and Bryan want those younger guys. That's their whole thing on SmackDown. Like, Kurt Angle can go for someone like, you know, he's got the 3 eyes, he can go off that or something dumb like that, you know. Announcers might change. I feel like Byron Saxton is gonna go to SmackDown. I feel it. I don't want it to happen, but I feel like it is. Other than that, I don't have much to say about commentary. Nigel McGuinness is definitely staying on SmackDown, though, or NXT, I should say. Mojo Rawley recently won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I feel like he's going to Raw. I feel like he's definitely one where they just gave him this momentum, and I feel like it's going to happen there. So I feel like he's going to Raw. Already talked about Orton. Roman Reigns, definitely staying on Raw. He's got his thing getting involved right now with Brock Lesnar. That's definitely going to happen, pretty soon, or at WrestleMania 34. That's been rumored there. Zayn, either staying on Raw or going... Okay, well, no shit, he's staying on Raw or going to SmackDown, but... I don't know about Zayn, because now he's playing out this rivalry where he wants to stay on Raw, and I feel like they're going to have him go to SmackDown, and they'll play up the storyline of, okay, well, shit, I was just starting to get into things on Raw, but whatever. Joe is definitely staying on Raw. Nakamura. And I can't believe that Nakamura debuted on SmackDown, and people are saying he's going to go to Raw. But then again, it could happen, man. If Nakamura gets traded to Raw and he debuted on SmackDown, it just makes me think, well, what was the point of that? But then again, I understand, like, they're trying to add this unpredictableness to it, this edge, so I understand what they're doing there. The Miz is another one, man. The Miz is interesting because I feel like The Miz has claimed his home on SmackDown. Like, that's The Miz's yard. Just like Styles, where he just made it his own, you know what I'm saying? But then again, man, it could happen. He can go to Raw with Maurice. That'd be an interesting dynamic there. Ty Dillinger staying on SmackDown. He just debuted there. Zack Ryder getting injured. No other important names. Undertaker's gone. So, yeah. Okay, guys, so that was my predictions video, you could say. Cesaro and Sheamus, I already talked about Cesaro. They might be split up, though, during the shakeup. So, that's my thoughts there. I barely went out over any of the women's wrestlers. I feel like most of them are going to stay where they're at. Again, the few changes I thought there'd be made, I pretty much said that. So thank you guys so very much for watching. This has been Pipe Bomb City. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video here. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment on this video, and follow my Instagram at Pipe Bomb City. Thank you guys so very much for watching. This has been Pipe Bomb City, and I will see you all next time.
Tonight is the night, bright lights, high crowd, yeah, we need to throw down.